Good morning and welcome to Nextend Consulting YouTube channel. I'm Aida Kamal Crowder, international career coach and professional development speaker. I'm excited to have you on this channel. The objective is to share some amazing stories with different career paths that could inspire you, right? Whether you are a current student, a new graduate, or a professional who is at a crossroad in their career, this is the place where you can hear different paths, different career strategies or tips that could help you. So feel free to subscribe. And if the story is interesting, hit the like button, share. And the subject that we'll talk about today is how you can navigate your career from, starting in consulting to touching finance to being in operations, and now being an entrepreneur. So my guest today is Monica Shah, who is a co-founder of a company called Small Packages, and she'll tell us about it. And Monica, I can't wait to hear. Welcome, and thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Ada.
Yes, tell me more about your background. Tell me more about your story.
Yeah, so I started in FP&A, financial planning and analyst role that was in the supply chain operations function at a large Fortune 500 CPG, which is consumer packaged goods company. I started there, spent a few years there learning how to be really, really good at Excel. And then I went into management consulting where I got to see problems and issues of companies from a very large lens or a large view. So I there did a lot of deck building and understanding how to communicate to C-suite and really understand different functions of a business. And then from there, I realized I really did enjoy pieces of the consumer packaged good industry where it was creating a physical product or even communicating to customers. So building a relationship with customers is something I realized I really enjoyed. And a lot of what I was learning was that's more of like a marketing role. And so I decided to go to Kellogg, the #1 school for marketing, to learn more about marketing and trying to get a job in marketing. While I was there, I was realizing that given my background, it was really hard to jump into into the function of a marketing role and wasn't sure exactly where my skill set fit until I interviewed for a director of operations role at a very young startup. While I was going through that interview process, I realized it was actually the perfect merriment of both of my skill sets. Operations really takes into account marketing and finance. And so I felt like it was technical, but you still have to understand the consumer and make sure you are building the function out so that it meets the consumer's needs. So I then ended up in a director of ops role at a men's skincare company. So again, in the CPG space. And then most recently have joined on as co-founder and CEO or COO of Small Packages.
Mhm. Fantastic. Thank you so much. Because this is all making sense, right? It sounds like in your past, you had a choice. You wanted to kind of navigate into marketing. You wanted to get a little closer and you got to discover operations, right? And that's how you started that journey in the operation space. And can you tell us a little more about, you know, taking that opportunity to go and join a startup and what it did actually for your own career and your learning?
Yeah, for sure. So, the management consulting firm I was at a few years ago was a small firm. So it was my first taste of understanding what it felt like to wear multiple hats and the amount of visibility you get when you're at a smaller company versus when I was at the Fortune 500 company, which was wonderful in its own way, was that it had so many resources. Like if you needed something, there was an expert in that space, but you really didn't get to see the full picture sometimes. Sometimes you were just in your little pillar or your little function. And so I personally enjoyed having the view and the breadth and having to have the ability to impact other functions in my daily role. So I did pretty early on know I enjoyed smaller companies. And then while I was interviewing at the startup, I didn't realize how small. It wasn't until like my, final interview that I realized the company had only had 2 people at that time. So definitely not something I was actively seeking, but I, learned a ton during that experience. Had many hats, and so that's when I realized, okay, I could do small and I could do very small. Small comes in its own ranges. Small can be as
Right,
small as like 100 people, or it could be 2 people.
right, right. Absolutely. So, you know what? You did well. You did well in startup, right? You were director of operations. Then you went to director of products. And I think that's what you're speaking to by highlighting all the responsibilities you end up taking and actually the chance to learn more, right? To add more to your toolkit. So you were great there. What happened? When did you know that it was time for you to venture into entrepreneurship? Did you know? What happened? What was the story like for you?
Yeah, I think this path looks different for everyone going into entrepreneurship. I never was a person who dreamt of starting my own business. I even like while I was at in business school, I was never like in the entrepreneur field, like I'm going to start my own business. Um, it was really as I was finishing up my career path at Oars and Alps, the men's skincare company, that I realized at what phase I was the most excited with being at the business. And that was the at very early stage where you kind of didn't know what came next. And you're literally building everything from scratch. That company did, as it grew, there was a larger company that had taken on minority share of the company. And so there was a lot of shift in the company. And I feel like that is a normal phase of when people do start to think about what's next. The company is maturing and growing, building in processes, which it should. And that's a normal phase. But I think for me, I felt like what I came to do was accomplished. And so I felt like I wanted to do that again. I just didn't know how I wanted to do that and what that looked like. And so it wasn't until literally, went through the interview process, started talking to people, and realized um, I really didn't know what was next. But I know I wanted to be really selective on what path I chose. And I started to do some consulting work because I thought that's my way of like dabbling and seeing like, okay, do I want to go to another startup again? Or do I want to slow things down and go to a larger company? And then I met Julie through, and this is, I think, where I'll talk about my new endeavor is I met Julie virtually through another friend during COVID. So like at the peak of COVID, we met via Zoom and she's like, I could use some operations help. And I was like, okay, let's talk. Like I can, help you out verbally and kind of talk to you and see what this looks like. And so I was giving her some tips here and there, nothing like super permanent. And then after I had left Oars and Alps, I decided to join her as a full-on consultant. And I started consulting for her just a short-term period until I really figured out what I was going to do full time. And then she turned around and offered me the role of co-founder after we had been working together for 3 months. And it was a great honor. I didn't expect it. And so me and her had to have some very deep conversations of what that meant. It's pretty much, she's been building this business. It's like her baby. And for her to offer it to me to help, I was just taken aback. And so we chatted, we had deep conversations, we made sure our values were aligned. And we both realized we really want to help people build relationships and help strengthen relationships because we think that actually improves one's wellness. So it's not only, by the physical products, it's not just by what you eat or working out, it's actually human interaction and having relationships that you're close to, especially as you get older, because that's where a lot of people don't have as much time to spend with other friends. And so by creating the platform we did, right now it is a curated gifting platform where you can buy items, but there will be this tech platform that we build out that will help you constantly stay engaged with friends by reminding you of when special events happen or having a place to house those like special events like one of their kids' birthdays or an anniversary. stuff that
Ah,
normally isn't celebrated unless you're physically near someone.
right. Oh my gosh, this is fantastic. So you ended up actually sharing more about the business, which is great because I get to see um, the use and the problem that you're solving, right? So it's really helping people find gifts. And what would you say is what differentiates you from others? And the name of your business is actually Small Packages, right? Where do we
Yeah.
find you? And then how do you differentiate yourself from others?
Yeah. So how you can find us, it's smallpackages.co, not .com. And
Okay.
we're online. We actually just sold out of all of our holiday inventory upon Cyber Monday. So there's a lot going on. It's our busiest time of the year.
Yeah.
We are pre-funding, so we're really, really small. We're hoping to go raise money in Q2 of next year. But so
Yeah.
far, this is everything we've been able to really build out with a little bit of seed money or they call it friends and family and
Right.
from profits. But yeah, so we are online. And what was the second part of that question?
So what differentiates you from others, right? What
Y-
is your problem?
Yeah,
What are you solving for clients?
yeah. So we offer, there's a lot of other curated gift boxes out there. And what we offer are a really simple way to purchase. So we only have three price points, 35, 50, and 100. You can do it all online. We handwrite the note, and how we curate our boxes is unique. So we primarily source from other small businesses,
Right.
and we highlight women-owned businesses, minority-owned businesses, and then we prioritize sustainability. So we try to find products out there that are using sustainable packaging or are giving back in their own way.
Right.
So
Right.
things that if you were to put something like this together would take a few hours or a few trips to the store, which we definitely can't do today during COVID. So we kind of take care of all of that for you so that you can show up in a great polished and personalized way to your friend, your family member, or your colleagues.
Yeah. And this is actually a perfect time. I can understand why you guys sold out. I mean, it's a perfect time. People are remote, people are far from each other, and being able to have that gift showing up unexpectedly when you have not seen someone for a while. Yeah, you guys
Yeah,
have
it's
you
so
have a
funny.
powerful message there. Yes.
Well, yeah, when I was talking to people, like, people are like, "Oh, that's great for this, during COVID time." And I'm like, "This business actually existed last year too." So it's not like it developed just upon the pandemic. The pandemic has been obviously good for this business because it has given us a leg up, but I think there's much more here than beyond COVID. And we're learning about all these ancillary moments of when you can gift because the idea is it's replacing that ability to go grab a drink with your friend had you like both lived in New York City. Now people are
Right.
living all across the US, including the world, so it's like how do you still show up for those moments when you're not physically together?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh, you are a necessary business right now. We need you for sure. Good for you. And can you tell us actually, I think it's really interesting how with the co-founder, you kind of touched on it a little bit, but I think it's a good inspiration for a lot of people because um, individuals are interviewing um, and they don't even get to meet the colleagues in person, right? They don't get to meet the manager in person. It's all virtual. And I kind of like your story on how you guys actually, met virtually the entire time. Is that correct?
Yeah, so we have not still to this date have met in person, which is crazy, but in 2 weeks, we are meeting in person for the first time. I'm actually now out in LA and our family lives around here. So she's been quarantining and we're gonna meet after that quarantine completes and meet in person, which I'm really excited about. But as far
That's
as people who
great.
are looking to change jobs during COVID, I
Yeah.
mean, I feel like people are definitely hiring the networking experience is very different, because you can't just
Yeah.
meet someone after a talk or something. So it's requires a lot more creativity with your email subject line and your emails themselves. I think LinkedIn is a great resource. I've had a lot of people reaching out to me via LinkedIn, but I
Yeah.
know if you're recruiting for startups, like the best way is to just approach the team themselves, send them
Yeah.
a note. I think startups are always so busy and they don't always get to have that like forecast of knowing, hey, I'm going to need someone in 6 months. Let me take the effort to put together a job
Yeah.
description. That just doesn't happen. Things just move so fast. So they might not,
Yeah.
they know they need to hire someone, but weren't able to post even yet. So it's like if you're
Right.
able to just reach out to them and they're like, actually, yes, that is what we need someone to do, then it's like a great way to get your foot in the door.
Yeah, I love it. This is like such a nice segue to, my next question and kind of, wrapping up our conversation too is, that advice for people as they're navigating and thinking of networking. I think you did a great job kind of highlighting what it's different, right? Networking is different, but it's that piece of being proactive in the process, and not hesitating to reach out, and maybe patience also. I think patience is a good one.
Yeah, if you have
I know
time.
you can testify on that.
Yeah, because I didn't get my job offer until I think it was a day before graduation or 2 days before graduation from business school. Yes. And I'm probably of my group of friends, the one who stayed longest at her job because like sometimes you have to wait to get that kind of role. And so
Yep.
yeah, if you can be patient with your job and like still, work and find the next role, I think definitely try to do that. But I know for some people, it's you don't have that time and you need to
Right.
find something quick. And I don't think, I have a few friends that are looking for jobs right now. And I think people do put a lot of pressure on trying to find the best thing. And I
Yep.
do feel like it's really hard. You can do all the due diligence in the world, but you might do it and think like it seems amazing on paper, and then you do it and then realize 6 months into it, you're like, whoa, this is not what I expected. And then there might be another job where you're like, oh, it seems okay. Like maybe I'll take it. And then it ends up being the job you're at for 10 years.
Right.
So
Right.
you can try your best to do all your due diligence, but sometimes you kind of just need to try it out yourself.
Yeah. Oh, this is precious advice. I keep saying that, but it's also interesting to hear it from someone like you who's been through the
Hmm.
process, who's been in a large organization, but also in a startup. And
Hmm.
you've kind of navigated well within the startup space because you built so much on your own skill set, competences, and now with the entrepreneurship, it's going to be another set of challenges, right? And another set of learning. What are you looking forward to?
Yeah, and thank you. I mean, I'm not gonna. My career path is all over the place. So I think for some people, they were like, What are you doing? Like, you're in a whole new function. You're taking
Yeah.
another step back because every time you switch functions, you have to either take it back in salary or in title. But for me,
Yeah.
it was worth the investment because I knew I was getting closer and closer to something that I was going to enjoy, and that was really my end goal, and that's how I
Yeah.
ended up in entrepreneurship. Like I said, it was never something I was targeting, but I realized doing each role there was something I really loved about it, and then I honed it in on that, and that's kind of where
Right.
I got.
Yeah.
So I'm
No.
excited in this new role. Yeah, sorry, go
Yeah.
ahead.
No. No. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah,
No.
I'm excited in this new role. So I went from having a physical product to develop, and now we are going to move towards building out a tech product. And that is what I'm really excited about of how to leverage a merriment of like consumer packaged goods and technology to create an optimal solution for our customers. Because I don't think it just sits in the physical product. I do think having this tech like arm to it will help even highlight it and make it more useful for consumers.
Oh,
And
that's
that's what I'm
perfect.
really excited about.
That is exciting. That is
Yeah.
exciting and actually so complementary to what you've done so far. So I can tell. I can tell
Yeah.
you're on the path to more growth, and I can't wait to see, where you
Oh,
take us again with your journey.
oh,
And I
thank you so
can't
much.
thank you enough, Monica. This is precious information. I'm sure people will get some inspiration in terms of, when it comes down to those choices, right, within the startup, the big company, kind of thinking of where your growth could be, what you want to accomplish, right? What problems do you want to be solving? And I hear you on the patience. I hear you on that patience piece and that proactive, right? Patience, but why being proactive? I kind of like that dynamic, actually.
Yeah.
So
Awesome. Well, so great to connect with you. I haven't seen you for so long, so it's so great to see you. And yeah, people can find me on LinkedIn if they want to reach out, if they have questions about startup. I'm more than happy to chat with people, especially if they're trying to figure out if a director of ops role is good for them. I personally think it's like the best role if you have a finance background because it gets you out of like the daily reporting and lets you leverage your creativity to solve problems, which is so fun.
I agree. I totally agree. And I'll make sure to have your LinkedIn profile posted also, and the link to the business small packages. That's
Yeah.
exciting, and I'll check it out too because I'll need to send some
Awesome.
gifts. So,
Yeah.
well, thank
Thank
you
you. Check it
for
out.
doing
Let me know
that.
what you think for
For
sure.
sure, would do. Thank you so much, Monica, and enjoy the rest of your day. Okay,
Thanks. You too.
bye.
Bye.